Hello. Hello, I live. I'm alive. I may not feel it at times, but I am very much alive. I'm excited to be back, but I'm also in kind of this moment of, do I remember how to do this? What is streaming? How do you stream? Hey, how's it going? I feel like I've been gone for forever, and that's because I've been gone for at least 16 days. So the long and short of it is, I went to the hospital. Well, not really the hospital, but, a clinic, because I needed to check up on some allergy issues, which, if you've followed my channel at all, you've seen and heard. And, they decided that since I was there, they were going to go ahead and have me do some blood work while I was there. Like, okay, cool. They also noticed that my blood pressure was a little high, and it had been a little high for quite a while. So they decided to go ahead and put me on some blood pressure medication. And then it came back that my cholesterol levels were a little funky. And, what was it? That my triglyceride levels were high? I don't know. But anyway, they put me on that medication too. So I was fine for a while. That was sometime in early January, mid-January. And, but then all of a sudden, my health just kind of fell off a cliff. And as it turned out, I went and got a second opinion on Friday, because I was consistently so exhausted that I was missing quite a bit of work. So I got a second opinion, and when I got my blood pressure checked there, it was the absolute lowest it's ever been. As far as I know, when I was at my peak physical condition, I was doing boxing regularly, and I was doing great with that. My heart rate was something like 117 over 80 something, I believe. It was something ridiculous and something very, very impressive. And one moment. And then when I got my blood pressure done at the clinic on Friday, it was at like 112 over 90. So there was basically no pumping happening, right? And so they just told me I should go ahead and probably stop taking the blood pressure meds for a little while and see if that's going to affect my overall mood, energy levels, etc. And they told me some other things, but I was too tired to remember. But I did, and I had immediate improvement the next day. I was immediately more peppy, I had more energy, my mind was sharper, everything was going well. So I I haven't taken them since, and I'm going to wait until this Friday, see how I feel, see if I continue feeling well. And then I'm going to call my doctor and be like, yeah, your meds were killing me, so I stopped taking them. But I feel better, and so I feel like I have the energy to stream again. And one of the first things I'm going to do is I've got a squad of these that need to be painted. So I'm going to go ahead and start painting them. They belong to Soft Servo's wife, and I asked her what color scheme she wanted for them. And she told me that she would like silver armor and purple cloth. So every part of this that is cloth is going to be purple, while everything else on here is going to be silver. I'm going to do some cool stuff with the faces just because I can. I'm going to try and make these look as good as I can without going whole hog. And something else is that I was specifically requested by Soft Servo, I think I was, to do true metallic metal as opposed to non-metallic metal, because he just doesn't like the look of true metallic metal, or non-metallic metal. And that's fine. I'm perfectly fine with doing that. So today, I'm going to paint me some battle nuns. And hopefully they're going to turn out okay. Which should not be a problem. These things are great models. I have a lot of fun painting them. I haven't done so in a while. The last one of these I painted was back during the pandemic when I bought myself a set of Battle Sisters and one of their transports. So we're going to see what I can do with my considerably improved skill level since I last painted those. But yeah, it feels nice to be back. My wife has been incredibly patient with me. Art by QB has been incredibly patient and understanding and loving the entire time, and has been very supportive. But even she said, when she found out that I was better and that I was feeling better, that she really missed me. Because even though I was home, and I was conscious and trying, I spent a lot of the last month either sleeping or in something of a fugue state because I just had no energy whatsoever to do anything. So I would be there next to her, but I would just kind of sullenly be on the computer or in bed basically trying to go to sleep really early. I was getting close to 10, 12 hours of sleep a night, and I was still exhausted. So I'm just really happy that, as far as I can tell, that part of my life is over, and I no longer have to worry about feeling like that, because it was drastically affecting my ability to do my job. It was drastically affecting my ability to be a friend and a husband to my wife, and it made me kind of listless. I had another friend tell me that he's never seen me like that before, and he was genuinely concerned. So I'm glad it's over. And I definitely have more energy. At work today, we're doing Romeo and Juliet, and we're starting to get to the sword fights, which are supposed to be, the best parts of the story, right? Those are the parts that were supposed to draw people in because they were sword fights and they were exciting and they were violent. And both Soft Servo and I have some experience with sword play. And so he bought some boffers, some that were recommended by his friend who has more extensive knowledge in HEMA, historical European martial arts. And he was excited that, I was conscious enough to actually use them and mess around with them. But just it's something fun for the kids to do, is to mock fight each other while they're delivering the Shakespeare lines, no matter how good or bad they are. But I definitely walked in today and I just told the kids, I'm off the meds and I crave violence, as I clutched one of the swords. So that was definitely how my day went, and that was definitely how much different I felt, which was awesome. It felt great to feel good. Now, I didn't exactly stop painting while I felt like that. I was painting her booby silver. I had enough energy to paint, and I could dedicate my brain to that, but that was about as many spoons as I could muster to do anything. So I got a couple of models done. I got a couple of commissions done before it really fell off. But once I kind of fell off, that was it. I had nothing left.
it was getting to a point where even just focusing to paint was becoming too difficult. So, I'm kind of glad I got to experience it, because it's definitely made me appreciate my normal energy levels more. And it was one of those things where, like, you know, unless you really make a concerted effort with your health, you kind of start feeling bad, and then you deteriorate, and there's not much you can do to kind of recover. You know, it's like, man, I used to be strong, and man, I used to be fast, or whatever, or, you know, 10 years ago I could have gone on for forever. And you don't think about it then, because all you can think about when you're younger is, man, I wish I was stronger, or man, I wish X. So you kind of, it's that, you know, youth is wasted on the young thing. But thankfully, I kind of have a second chance, and I'm going to be using that to get in just better shape altogether. I don't want to keep going back to the doctor's office and have an alarming blood pressure. I don't want to keep having issues with my cholesterol. So I am eating a little better, which, to be honest, I was not eating bad to begin with. I think those were just bad numbers because during the holiday season, I kind of went ham with food by eating all the ham. But I'm getting back into exercising. I'm getting back into being more active and taking less shortcuts. I say as I spend about an hour painting. But point is that I don't want to go back to my checkup in March and have the same news brought to me and then be like, yeah, you really need to be on these things or you're going to die. My original checkup was supposed to be in April, but that was just too far out, like the end of April. So I tried to call the doctor's office to reschedule earlier to be like, hey, I think the drugs are killing me. Can we have a, can I get in earlier to talk to my doctor? And they told me the earliest they could get in was the 24th of March, which would have been the end of next month, near the end of next month. And to give you an idea of how exhausted I was sitting in the teacher's lounge, and they had me on hold, and I closed my eyes. And when I opened them again, my phone said I had been on hold for about 15 minutes. So I just straight up passed out in a chair in the lounge for about 15 minutes, which is obviously not okay. So yeah, I'm just glad I'm feeling better. And that I have the energy to do this again. Because not being able to paint, at least with some level of cognition, has been awful. And I felt like I was just starting to hit a stride with my with the streaming, and now I've kind of got to, I don't want to say start over, because I'm definitely not starting over, but I've got to kind of rebuild a rhythm, because not streaming for 2 weeks has got to be a death knell for viability here. I don't know, I suppose I will find out. I will say, this is going to be a neat looking model when it's done. I think, unfortunately, because of how bright I have the lights so I can see what I'm doing, you're not really getting to see the effect of the silver since it's going on such a bright armor already. But hopefully, as I start including the complementary colors, you'll be able to see more of what is going on with this model. But yeah, did some other painting while I was half conscious. Painted up a Primaris Ancient just because he wasn't selling. No one wanted him, so I just went ahead and said, screw it, I want to paint him. Painted up a Primaris Lieutenant. Pretty much the same reason. I sold off the rest of that box. Probably for far cheaper than it was worth, but that's fine. Was just basically in a position where I wanted to get rid of a lot of models. I still do. I've got a lot of Tau I need to get rid of, but that's okay. I can do that later. I did recently find out the way that I was trying to advertise an r/mini swap was definitely not okay, so they took down that listing. So I'm gonna have to find another way to find clients. What I'm gonna do right now, though, is finish painting this power sword. Okay. And again, not trying to go too tricky with these because this is just going to be like a display model for Soft Servo's wife. I don't know. I don't think she actually has any plans to play any more Warhammer. So I'm just trying to get these models looking nice on the shelf. Oh man, there was still too much water in there. I will say, I finished my queue of things I needed to do, and I'm now kind of back to painting what I want to paint. I'm not getting paid for this commission or anything. I'm just like, hey, I'd like to paint these for you. And he said, heck yeah, and handed them over. So I think that's all. Nope, she's still got some metal that has not been hit in here. There we go. Yay. And then let's see, maybe under here. And maybe under here. I have one problem, and that's that my brush keeps hitting the other light I've got up here. Okay, so on to the next bit, I suppose. I'm gonna give that a chance to dry so I can eventually hit it with something else. Let's go ahead and mix up some dark purple because it was requested that her robes be purple. So we're gonna go ahead and build some volume there. And hopefully that will look okay. Now, this is where I kind of wish I had a second, like a palette cam, because there's a lot of time being spent where you guys can't exactly see what I'm doing, and that's not the most entertaining thing to have on camera, just a still model, but I don't have the money for that. Not yet. Eventually I will. And then things will be grand, because I'll be able to show off exactly the color combinations I'm using, how I'm mixing it. You guys can laugh at my poor mixing abilities. Right now, I just need to paint this poor lady's skirts purple. Did I not hit? Nope, that got hit with metal. It's just weird reflections. I will say, I do think that the Sisters of Battle is by far one of the coolest things that Games Workshop has come up with. The black and red combo is very powerful, and it looks really good. But I think that there's enough variety that can be drawn out of these models that you don't need to go that route to get really, really good looking models. And the fact that they had that range refresh at the end of 8th edition definitely helped too, because the Sisters are such a cool looking army. And having them go up to true scale and just having these great looking proportionate models definitely helped sell how awesome they were. The old models were a little too cartoony, I guess, and I don't think it diminished them in any way, but the new models are just very, very striking. And they're honestly some of my favorite models. If it wasn't for the fact that I was so bought in with the Sons of Dorn and doing Imperial Fists, I'd probably go ahead and make a Sisters army. But I've already got two. I play Death Guard, I play Imperial Fists. I don't have the money, time, nor energy to start a full third army. But they are just such a great looking set of models. I will say, if I had any brains, I could have just bought 2 of the Christmas boxes and a combat patrol, and that would have given me everything I would have needed. I would have had, and Celestine, I guess. I would have had all sorts of units to play with. I would have been able to do all sorts of good things. So I guess the moral of the story is, if you want to get into Games Workshop stuff in Warhammer, wait for the bundles. The bundles are where you're going to make the most bang for your buck. And I mean, it still would have cost me the price of a console, $400 or $500, but it would have gotten me so close to finishing that I wouldn't have to spend a whole lot more, I guess? I don't know. Justifying paying that kind of money into a hobby always feels weird to me. But then I remember that there are other hobbies like golf and auto repair and You know, those kind of things where you're spending hundreds of dollars every time you buy anything. Like I not to use the pun too on the nose, but I dodged the bullet of getting into like firearms as a hobby, and just looking at how much it would cost to customize my rifles or my handguns the way I'd you know want them to be. It's not inexpensive, right? Like if I wanted to get wood grips on my pistol, it'd be like another $70 or $80, I'm pretty sure. And then there's things like getting a different slide or getting a laser sight or this, that, and the other. There's a lot that could be done that would cost a lot of money. Now, I suppose the question here is, do I want to make her inner sleeves purple, or should I give her another color? Because right now she's going off of a silver, right? She's purple and silver. Those were the two colors I was requested to do. And I'm really not sure what else to do with her. I also, to be fair, have not painted a Sister of Battle in a really long time. Okay. Yeah, they've got these long leather robes, or whatever these are supposed to be, these long cloth robes, I suppose. And I just need to go ahead and hit them with a dark purple. Mayhaps a black? Maybe I'll give her a black for the inner sleeve, and then I can give her a brown leather for her gloves. I think that'll work. I think the combination of purple and black is or purple and brown will work pretty okay. Go ahead and get in there, and then I can hit the outside again with the purple. Once I'm done. I've also been using the Citadel brush now for, I don't know, about a month, I guess. I kind of forgot when I first found it. But, now that I'm taking better care of it, I'm much less hateful of it. Hey, Seed Bloom! When I see something really nice, I donate. I got this thing. I go in when I see it. That's really nice. Very cool. I don't think I'm anywhere near, I don't think you can. I don't have anywhere near, I'm not an affiliate or anything, so I don't have any way to donate money. I don't have a Ko-fi or anything, sorry. But I do appreciate it. How about you give twice as much to the next person you find? Yeah, I don't have those either. I don't think I have anything attached to this channel. Like I said, yeah, I don't have anything attached to the channel yet. I'm still very small time. I do appreciate it though. But yeah, how about you just give twice as much to the next, like pay it forward to someone who can receive a donation. That seems like a nice thing to do. But thank you. I do appreciate it. Right now, I'm just trying to paint this lady's robes so that she can look really cool for my friend. I don't want to leave the channel. I was watching preview. Fair enough. Fair enough. This is my first time back in a while. I was taking a medication that made me very, very lethargic, and now I'm not, and so I finally have the energy. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm just going to keep working on this. They specifically asked for a purple... Oh, thank you for the follow. Thank you. They specifically asked for like a purple robe and a silver armor. And so I'm trying to figure out a scheme on this one since they're kind of the leader of the squad. And yeah, sisters are great. I was just talking about how I wish I could make an army for them, but I've already got a lot of money sunk into Imperial Fists and Death Guard. And while I do have some sisters models, I really can't afford to have a whole nother army. Though I gotta say, kudos to Soft Servo's partner for this color scheme, because I'm really digging the contrast between the dark purple and the silver armor. Hopefully I'll be able to do it justice. Okay, what do I got? There we go. That'll look good. And I think, yeah, I'm gonna have to do brown for the gloves. Sponsor your next army, but I don't know how. Like I said, I don't think I have a way. I don't know how to receive money through this thing. Let's see. I mean, I've got a Venmo. But I don't know if you feel comfortable doing that.
because like I said, I'm very small scale. I've only been streaming for a couple of months, and so I'd like to be bigger, but Venmo is one of those digital banking apps. So if you don't want to tie your bank account to that, don't worry about it. It's like PayPal, but I think there are less fees involved. I don't know.
You'd have to sign up and link your bank account. So if you don't feel comfortable doing that, I would not encourage you to do so. But yeah, it's basically PayPal. But PayPal has like the service fees if you're not doing friends or whatever. I'm still fairly unfamiliar with digital currency as well and digital banking. So I actually don't know how to. I'm new to Twitch in general too. This is not something that I'm very familiar with. So I'm not sure how to do any of that stuff. Yeah, that's gonna look really, really good when it gets shaded back up. But yeah, if you have a PayPal, I have one of those too. Like I said, I appreciate the offer. Yeah, see what I mean? I'm so small time. From what I know, I don't know. They have the you need to do X before you're considered affiliate. And the main thing I don't have is concurrent viewers. I need to have at least, I think, 3 viewers, an average of 3 viewers for a month. And I'm stuck around like 2.2, and that was before I had that 2-week-long hiatus, so I have no idea what my numbers are going to look like. Okay. It is what it is. I mean, I'm still small time, so I kind of understand that. And eventually I'll get there. I've made much better progress than I thought I was going to. I've reached over almost 80 followers, was not expecting that. I've met a lot of very cool people on here. It's been neat, but it's slow going. I don't advertise a whole lot either. I don't really know how to do any of that stuff. So I'm just kind of vibing and enjoying myself and hoping that if people stumble in and see my stuff, that I'm entertaining enough for them that they enjoy being here. That's gonna have to be a brighter purple. It's too close to the brown on the glove. I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out. In the meantime, highlights on the awesome clothes. God, I really like the Sisters of Battle. I shouldn't be doing this. This is convincing me I need to go out and buy Sisters again. I also follow a Kickstarter for not a Kickstarter, a Patreon for One Page Rules, who are an alternate rule source for Warhammer. And they're in the process of releasing their Battle Sisters line. And I gotta say, it is a neat line. It's supposed to be their version of Sisters of Battle, obviously. But, especially looking at it now, it doesn't hold a candle to the regular Sisters. They're just such a great look. Okay, did that just get too watery? It looks like it may have gotten too watery. It probably got too watery. That's okay. But yeah, I'm having a good time. So is this something that you normally do? Because in your first post, you mentioned that you go around and if you see something you like, you donate. That's pretty neat. I wish I could have taken advantage of that. Oh, that's really cool. Like, I feel like I should know your name. It sounds familiar, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm also recovering from pretty bad... Trying to get Venmo? Oh, you really don't have to, but I do appreciate it. My understanding, it's been a while since I've signed up for it, because I did so at the behest of my sister, yes. You have to link your bank account to it, and I don't remember if they have to make a dummy charge to prove that it's real or something. But it is supposedly better in a lot of ways than PayPal, and I've kind of just used PayPal because I'm fairly old hat and I haven't really learned a lot of the new online currency stuff. So I'm at a loss. I appreciate it if it doesn't end up working out. I do. But if it's too much trouble, then don't worry about it. I appreciate the recognition. Let's see. What can I do here? I gotta make this brighter. It's gonna be brighter. I don't think I can leave it at this color. This is almost a black, and it's creating problems for me. So I think what's gonna happen is we're going to get it up to this nice, I guess, plum purple? And we're really gonna emphasize that plum purple. And then get some great highlights on it. That'll really sell that this is meant to be a beautiful, radiant purple. As she hacks you to death with an energy sword. Fair enough. But yeah, this is really making me want to go ahead and start buying into Sisters. Because that's the other thing, is I found that there are definitely models that I prefer painting, that are fun to paint, and ones that are not. And I gotta give kudos for all of the things that Games Workshop does that I don't agree with. They really do make their models fun to paint. I don't know if that's part of the design process when they're making their poses and whatnot, but I do find that Games Workshop models tend to be incredibly fun to paint. They're always very dynamic, and they do neat things. And I guess it might just be that their shape geometry is simple enough that you can do really cool things with it. Or it might be that, I don't know, I started by painting, Space Marines and whatnot. And so Games Workshop is just kind of a comfort blanket for me. I don't know. I just know that I tend to enjoy painting them a whole lot more than other models. Because I have a 3D printer, and I definitely print some of my own stuff, and I've definitely printed models that were like third-party proxies, and while they are neat, they don't have that same charm. So it must just be something about Games Workshop models. Maybe it's, oh no, the camera. Maybe it's the knowledge that I spent a ton of money on them, and I've got to justify it somehow. But yeah, now I'm going to have to start coming up with my own headcanon as to who these sisters are. I'm actually, I attend a church with my wife, and I grew up as someone who is not particularly religious, and she is. Only got Smurfs and some Death Guard at the moment. Well, I mean, that's a great place to start. Can't go wrong with the Ultramarines. For everyone who hates them, first of all, they're wrong. But secondly, there's a lot more people who like them. 13 painted? That's fine. I mean, everyone at their own pace, right? Yeah. And then you're going to have them all done, and you're going to be like, wow, look at all the ones I did. Did you get them from, like, the one of the starter sets from 8th edition, like Dark Imperium or No Fear or whatever the heck the other one was called? Or are these just ones you bought because you thought they were cool? Because, yeah, I originally had no interest in getting into Warhammer. I felt that it was way too expensive. It was way too difficult. Oh, that's okay. I appreciate it. I really do. But yeah, I'm not sure how you can donate. I mean, I guess at some point I probably got to start up a Ko-fi or something. Ko-fi? At some point, and I can link it in here, because one of the people that I watch and I enjoy, they have one of those. And I don't, because I just never thought of doing it. But you know what? If people want to give me money because they're entertained by what I do, then I'm not going to stop them. But yeah, I'll have to do that some other stream, because I don't want to interrupt the stream, my first stream back, by taking... I got into it from the books and then by the minutes, because I actually loved it, because I actually got an army. It felt good. Yeah, I know, right? I got into it because I'm a high school teacher, and a student that I'm not going to say I was close to, because that sounds weird, but that seemed to take a liking to me, because he was into a lot of the same nerd stuff I was, D&D and magic and whatnot. He expressed interest in getting into Warhammer, and at the same time, one of my coworkers, who is also one of my friends, I call him Soft Servo on here a lot because that's his artist handle. He's a musician. He found out that we could get Warhammer stuff from Games Workshop if we requested and asked as a club. And so we did, and we got like the smallest 8th edition starter box. I don't remember what it was called. but we got that, and we got some paints, and we got this, that, and the other. And the person didn't want the models. He had plenty of models. He wanted the paints, so we kept the models. And the student wanted to know if we could put them together and paint them. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. So he painted some of the Death Guard stuff. I painted some of the Space Marine stuff, and that was kind of it. But then when I was at a local hobby shop looking at getting D&D minis, I noticed the Tau. And of course, you know, dumbest way to get into the hobby is with space weaves, but that's a whole nother story. Pretty straight hand there. Maybe painter earlier. No, it's because I've been doing this obsessively for like 4 years. I wish the camera would stay in focus. I really got into the painting once I got into the painting. And so I've been painting for a while, not for very long actually, maybe 4 years at most. But I have this thing where if I want to get into something, I need to be good at it. I want to learn to be good at it. So I pretty obsessively started looking up videos on how to paint better and what to do and how to, you know, like make your hand steadier, for example. And something that they mentioned is to like either pinch your palms together or rest your palm against something, and that prevents a lot of the just, you can see it right there, the shakiness when it's rested against the anything. Yeah, it creates like a ledge. And it took me a while, but it really does work, and it is really good. And the other thing that helps is having a good brush. And so I started buying better brushes for myself. And I just, like I said, I've probably painted hundreds of minis at this point. I've helped paint an entire Imperial Fists army for a client, for a commission. I've painted my own Imperial Fist army almost twice over now. I painted all of my Tau, which is, golly, like 1,500 points of it. I painted all of my Death Guard, which is another like 2,000, 3,000 points. I've been painting obsessively, because I've just enjoyed the growth in this skill since I started. It was not something I ever thought I'd be good at when I was a kid. And so I have very, very little artistic background. The Purple Cloak, because these aren't my models. I mentioned earlier, my friend Soft Servo, he got his wife a set of Zephyrim because he was trying to get her into the hobby. And she wasn't too interested. Like, she liked the models, thought they were neat, had fun putting one of them together. But then they just kind of languished in his toolbox for years. And so he realized he was never going to have time to get to them because he's working on his own army and he's got a bunch of other pursuits that he personally is into. So he was like, hey, you need some more content for your channel? And I went, yeah, sure, why not? And so he handed them over and said, go ahead and paint those. And so I did. And I asked her what color she wanted them to be. And she told me a silver armor, purple cloak. So I don't think it has anything to do with any specific lore or chapter. They were just colors that she liked. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I'm really sad that it was primed before I got a hold of it. Because there are mold lines aplenty on this thing, and they're making me sad. But yeah, I'm not trying to go too hardcore with this, because she's not going to look at it with that kind of detail. Something that I spent a lot more time on was, like, this guy. He was the last thing I kind of painted for myself, and I went a whole lot more detailed with him. I really worked on the face. I did non-metallic metal for the shin. I need to fix the power sword. I'm not liking how that turned out. I went ahead and gave him a glow on his on that side. So yeah, definitely went harder on him. And I've got other models around here somewhere that are of much greater detail, but off the top of my head, I can't find any. So I'm gonna go back to painting her cloak. But yeah, it's not because it's a specific chapter or anything, or not a chapter, an order or anything. It's just those were the colors that she wanted. Thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, I painted him when I was at kind of the height of my drug-addledness. I mentioned earlier they put me on some blood pressure medication, and it really messed with my ability to focus and my consciousness. I was basically heavily sedated all day, and I painted him when that was happening. I have a Mortarion that's kind of stowed away right now that I'm really proud of, and even him I didn't do that great a job on technically painting. He just looks real good. I've got a whole bunch behind me right now. What else can I do with her?
Maybe. Let me get a warm white. That's not a warm white. Yes. Yeah, if you give me a second, yeah, I love Mortarion. His story is cool. He's cool. It's a great model altogether. I love Mortarion. I actually just got through reading The Buried Dagger not too long ago from the Horus Heresy, and it made me love Mortarion more. I thought I was going to dislike him because of how kind of blah his story has been since then, and how badly they punked him in the Dark Imperium books. But after reading The Pale King, The Buried Dagger, I am so all in on Mortarion. And it's not because he's, like, super justified in anything, it's just that he's really sympathetic, you know? Great character. You want to see the model? Give me a second. I can actually pull him up. One moment. Let's see, where did Morty go? Oh, he's in there. I also have, I bought the Chaos Knight box set when it came out. And so he's actually sitting in a transport box with the Chaos Knights, which are also Nurgle inspired. So one moment, let me put him down. There is Morty. Yeah, if you give me a second. I think he's far enough that you can see him okay. Again, not my best paint job ever. I kind of want to go back and I want to keep improving him, which I've done a little bit of. But now that I know more about painting, I really want to go back and improve him. But yeah, I think I didn't do a bad job or anything. My favorite thing is this terrible little Nurgling with the helmet, sassy boy. He's the best. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to say I did a bad job or anything. I just know that I can do better now, and I'd love to go back and tweak some of the things that I think I could improve on. So yes, I love this model. I kind of want to buy another one and paint another one. I've seen him called Sassy Little Chungus, which is one of my favorite things. But yeah, the more I look at him, the more I see all the really cool detail on this model that I could bring out even further. And I want to paint him again, you know? Okay. Morty can go over here for right now. But yeah, like I have these war dogs that I've also painted, and I went ahead and made them part of my Death Guard army, so they're all Nurglified and gross. And I think, unfortunately, a piece fell off of one of them. That's okay. How it's supposed to be. And like, here's the other one, and I went ahead even and magnetized their arms so that, yeah, I think they're great. I love these models. They're so cool. They're such great looking models. Okay, the other one's right there. But yeah, the Night Abominant. I'm in love with this model. It's such a great looking model. Unfortunately, it looks like the magnet I put on his hip is not particularly good, so he kind of lists. But here is the Night Abominant. And I love the way this model looks. I love everything about it. The hanging chains on him, the giant Volkite gun, the tusks, the birds on his back. Everything about this model is just neat. So I can't wait to field him one day. I still have not played a game where I get to actually play as him. Oh, that's what happened. I see. That's why he's all wobbly. I need to super glue his magnet back on. That can go back in there. And the war dogs can go back in there. Eventually I'm gonna have a full squad of you boys. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna have a great time killing all the followers of the False King. Okay, False God. We can go back in there. This can go back in there. And I can get back to my paint. Ugh. I also have a Gilliman. I painted a Gilliman just because he was part of a competition that I entered, and he was my first attempt at non-metallic metal.
And the only thing I can really say is don't start trying to paint non-metallic metal by painting Gilliman. It's dumb and you're hurting yourself. However, the paint job was good enough to win me a local competition at my game store. Got a cool nasty one for you if you... I can click links. I definitely can. I can go ahead and look at it. Oh, the Great Clean Ones. I know about those. I love the Great Clean Ones. I love the Great Clean Ones. They're some of my favorite models. I've actually shown them on stream before. Where's the boy? Is it the boy? Yes, it is the boy. Ah, God, the Great Clean Ones are the best. The best part is I'm pretty sure I have those pictures somewhere. I know, right? My thing, I was going to try and make it worse. Like I said, my buddy Soft Servo and I play, and we both have way too much fun with that kind of cursed imagery. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to make a Great Clean One that was like a Redditor. And I mean that just kind of ironically. They were going to have, you know, a fedora and a hand in their hand. Instead of it being like the symbol of Nurgle, it was going to be a plate of tendies, and they were going to wear like a diaper. And on the back of the diaper was going to be a blowout where their, you know, their accident just exploded up. And the coup de grace, for me at least, was that we were going to hollow out the bottom and put some circuitry and a speaker in there so that when you set the model down, it would make a little... And my hope was, if I ever played that at a tournament, whoever was, like, playing against me would just take one look at that and go, I fold, you win. You've won. Please don't ever look at me again. So, we never got that far, because, the one time the painting contest I was just talking about, I won using some blight. Yeah, I'm not playing against this. I'm not touching this. Stay away from me, you freak. But, the one time I had enough money to buy a Great Unclean One to try and start this. My wife hates the Great Unclean One. She tolerates the Warhammer and she enjoys listening to stories about the Warhammer, but she just absolutely hates the Great Unclean One. Something about it just really skeeves her out. And so after winning the paint competition with my Gilliman and a couple of Blightlord Terminators, I was like, oh my god, I finally have enough money to buy a Great Unclean One. And they were out of stock at the store I go to, and I asked him, you know, could you order one? And he said, yeah, we'll get one in a couple weeks. And in the meantime, I saw Custodes. And I was like, I really want to buy some Custodes. I want to learn how to paint Custodes and have just a couple of them because they're cool, and put some more work into my non-metallic metals. And she came back with the Combat Patrol and was like, you should buy this. And I didn't realize at the time that her goal was to eat up all of my credit so that I couldn't buy a Great Unclean One. But you know what? It was genius, and now I've got a Combat Patrol of Custodes, so I am not too upset about that. Okay. Hopefully is the... Okay, that's doing okay, I suppose. Come on, come on. There we go. There we go. Again, trying to bring some highlights to this thing because I don't want it to be too dark. I have recently started with Custode because lore doesn't actually start anywhere, so I'm kind of into it at the moment. Love the Golden Boys. Yeah, they are great. If you want a really good book that kind of starts you off, or like it really established the Custodians, is my understanding, read Master of Mankind. It takes place during the Horus Heresy, and it's about the Custodes' fights in the Webway. Oh, you did? Okay. So yeah. 4 times. Wow, you really like them. I mean, I read the audio. I listened to the audiobook once and was like, yep, I'm sold. They had such a poor showing throughout the rest of the Heresy, and then that book happened, and it's like, I understand. I get it. I think, is there a book series called Talons of the Emperor? I don't remember, but it has Valerian and Alea. And I know that that's another place to go for Custodes lore, and I think there's 2 or 3 books in the series. But yeah, you're right. There isn't a whole lot on the Custodes. They're just kind of present, and when they're there, they do cool things, but they don't get a whole lot of time to themselves. Okay. What else can I do here? I feel like to go brighter, I'm going to have to go purple. Or like blue, not purple. I've already gone purple.
I have an anxiety when listening to books kind of elevates for my general well-being. That's understandable. I'm glad that you found that as a really good mechanism to help with that, because I used to think like I was never going to love audiobooks and they were silly. You started Warhammer 3 years ago? Hey, me too! That Warhammer is such a great sink to just kind of fall into and really absorb yourself with. 6 books a week? Well, I mean, like you said, if it's helping with your anxiety, then more power to you. That's really cool. I'm slowly working my way through the heresy because I've got the whole gotta teach thing. So I'm not able to get through it at the speed I want to. And typically, you're like a big nerd for it now. Understandable though. I mean, there's so much to Warhammer in general. And given that they've got all that extended lore for Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar and 40k and all of that stuff, you really, it's going to be really hard to run out of stuff. But I see you're trying to give them a run for your money. If you ask me what's happened at work, that's fine. I mean, you're learning passively, right? You're learning through that passive osmosis. Oh, okay, I got you. You don't remember what happened at work, but Warhammer is there for you. I mean, that's okay. When I used to work construction, I would just kind of put in music or listen to podcasts while I was doing whatever I needed to do. And honestly, it would make me zone out and hit that kind of Zen mode where work didn't suck as much anymore, right? And so if Warhammer's helping you do that, that's really freaking awesome. Sounds like one of those stories that Warhammer community wishes they had more of. Okay, we're going to go ahead and hit all this with the wash. So did Ultramarines just end up becoming your favorite chapter? And Death Guard become your favorite Chaos Legion? Based on the fact that you're collecting them? I'm going to need to bring more highlights to this once it all cools down. I do aerospace engineering? That's really cool. I am nowhere near to that caliber of quality of whatever. I'm a school teacher. I teach English to students who hate being in English. So it's my job to try and make it appealing to them. Or at least bearable enough that they'll do the work. When I first started, favorite Legion was hands down Imperial Fists. Yeah, it unfortunately, the one time I had a Warhammer student, it was before I cared about Warhammer, so I didn't really have a huge connection with him that way. He was just a good kid otherwise, but I really wish I had known more about it back when I was teaching him, because that would have given us a lot to talk about. He was even trying to write his own Warhammer fiction. I distinctly remember one time though, he came in and he was always kind of there. He was really kind of like, yep, I'm here to learn, here to do the work. It's all good. But one day he came in and he just looked absolutely devastated. And I asked him, you know, so-and-so, what's wrong? And he said, well, we were moving and we had all of our Warhammer stuff boxed up and the movers dropped the box down the stairs. Completely destroyed the entire army. And, you know, again, I was not very well versed in Warhammer, so I was like, oh man, that sucks, I'm sorry. And he was like, yeah, it was like $3,000 worth of stuff. And then I almost fell out of my desk. And so I was like, you know what, just go ahead and put your head down. Yeah, he did. He had insurance on it and everything, so they were able to get their money back, but his dad was the one who really helped him get in the hobby, so all of the models that were built and painted were things that he built and painted with his father. So it was more of like the sentimental value. You know what I mean? But he definitely did not look like he wanted to be there that day. So I was like, you know what, buddy? Go ahead and just put your head down. I know you'll make up the work eventually, but that sounds awful, and I'm really, really sorry that happened. Salamanders, they're pretty good. The salamanders are awesome. My buddy, one of my other friends, plays salamanders, and yeah, they are a very neat army.
You moved on? Understandable. The Salamanders have a really good showing, and as long as you're not an Eldar child, then you're in good standing with them. The Black Templars? Yeah, oh yeah, they are very grimdark. I was listening to an Adeptus Ridiculous about them, and by far my favorite quote about it is they're like the racist uncle at Thanksgiving. And they really are. It's pretty good. I've got to say, Helbrecht, the new Helbrecht model, easily one of my favorite models I've ever seen. And I almost had a chance to paint him as part of a commission. And unfortunately that fell through. And I was really, really sad. I mean, I got a whole bunch of other Black Templar stuff to paint. Like I had some of their initiates and whatnot. But I really wanted to paint not Sigismund, Helbrecht. He's so cool. Unfortunately, all I can think of, have you seen, I'm assuming you're at least familiar with If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device? If not, then you have a whole new thing to listen. Okay, yeah. All I can think of is when they were doing the If the Emperor Had a Podcast, and as part of an episode on the Black Templars, they teleported Helbrecht into the throne room, and Alpha Busa nearly ripped his throat open just trying to do the voice from Hell's Reach. Because yeah, it's such a great bit. Okay. What am I doing? Okay, I'm just putting Nuln Oil on all this to kind of tone down the silver so I can re-highlight it. Well, the chainmail, I guess. I'm really kicking myself for not removing the mold lines because they're so dang obvious now. That's okay, live and learn. Okay. Yeah, he's made mention that if they were ever to get a guarantee from Games Workshop that they would not be sued or whatever the word is, that they would be okay. They'd be legally protected, that they would start doing text-to-speech again. But because he is a combination of, I think he was getting burnt out from it, and because he was so terrified of having to fight a legal battle with Games Workshop, he basically quit the channel, or quit doing text-to-speech stuff. And now they're kind of doing their own thing. And they had an amazing, if you haven't seen it, an amazing mini-series about Hunter, World of Darkness. And I knew about World of Darkness from when I was in college, but to be honest, watching them do that thing, yes, with Marcus and Dor and whatnot, yeah, I'm an Imperial Fist fan, and so seeing that they basically brought him back as a character in that made me incredibly happy. That's fair. I liked it. I was tickled by it because I was a big fan of Hunter when I was in college. Well, not a big fan. I played a couple games of Hunter when I was in college, and I really liked how it played. And so to see that world represented by someone who is a big fan just made me really happy. They recently did a video on what is World of Darkness and how to get into it. And I think he did a great job of explaining how, in some cases, it can be incredibly macabre and creepy and unsettling. But at the same time, the lore of World of Darkness is so pants-on-head crazy that it really creates this weird reconciliation of incredibly absurd moments with incredibly creepy ones, you know? And I think that they were able to marry that really well in Hunter the Parenting. Speaking of Dor, oh yeah, he definitely does. He's doing quite a bit with it. One moment, I got something to show you. Trust me, you'll get there. I was not that good at painting when I started. Speaking of Rogaldorn,
Father, it is I, Rogel Dorn. This is entirely 3D printed. And I found the Rogel Dorn head on an Indiegogo that was defunct when I found it. And I took the chance anyway, and I bought into the tier where you could get the head. And by some grace of the Emperor, adornable, of course, but by some grace of the Emperor, I managed to get a link to that. And now I have this. I probably should reprint him, because some of that was issued. I actually don't remember what his wall name is. Like, I know what you're talking about, but I have not read a whole... Most of my lore has been from reading the Horus Heresy. And so, I feel bad that I'm not sure what his actual wall name is. Okay, because I used to know it. Also, I have this. This was the Gilliman I was talking about. And I got tired of losing Defiance. That is right. That sounds correct. But yeah, I have this Gilliman as well. This was the non-metallic metal Gilliman that I did that won me the competition. And yeah, this model was very much worth getting. It's a great model, and unless you absolutely slaughter the paint job, it's really easy to make it look good. And so I had a lot of fun painting it. My favorite thing about it, easily, is that I really like both of the heads on him. So I made it so that I magnetized the heads, and you can take it off. And like this one, I magnetized on here, and you can just kind of snap it on, and now he's got a second head. I think... Yeah, there we go. Yep, there he is. Now, I should have probably had the brains to realize that the neck stump was the same for both of them, and I could have just kept that on. But it was definitely worth doing. I do gotta say, though, his face has some really weird proportions, and he ends up looking a little strange. I don't think my paint job did a great job because it really accentuated his cheekbones. But he's got some really strange proportions on his face, and it makes him look very, very old. This can go back to the cover. Okay. In a book while wearing the armor. Okay, I think that's dried enough that I can probably start mixing together these other colors to get a better... It was constantly running into walls. I actually know very little about Gilliman outside of the Heresy, which I feel kind of bad about. I have yet to read the Dark Imperium trilogy, though that's basically next on my list once I finish the Siege of Terra. Though I am very worried about how badly it's going to punk Mortarion, because I don't want to see my boy be treated like garbage, and I know for a fact he's going to be treated like garbage. Okay, let's go ahead and just lightly shade in so that the top there we go, is nice and light. And don't worry, you'll eventually get there skill-wise. You're probably going to surpass me skill-wise, because I know I'm good, but that's kind of where I top out. There's so many much more skilled painters than I am. And it's just because they put in the hours and they have the time, right? And they've been doing it longer. So, you'll eventually get there. There's a short book, you can tube it. He constantly runs into walls. That's very unfortunate. Is that post-resurrection where he's wearing the new armor and he struggles with it? Like, I know so little about like contemporary 40K lore.
Well, at least post-resurrection armor of faith. Yeah, okay. And especially with the Ultramarines, I don't know much about them in the modern 40k. I know that for a while they were extremely overwritten as being the best because that's what Games Workshop, I guess, wanted to do to make them their focal selling point. And Matt Ward has taken a lot of the blame for that. But beyond that, I don't know much about any of them. Fair enough. I mean, I'll learn what I can learn off of some of the things that I choose to read. Hey, it's me, Skeptic. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Glad to know you're enjoying it. Okay. Now I'm just trying to get these up to a high level. Thanks. Appreciate it. This is not a commission, but kind of a commission. I'm not charging them. It's a friend. But their wife wanted them to have purple robes with silver armor. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to highlight this up so that it goes from just being kind of this really dark, too much of it is samey purple, into something that really pops. And I'm getting there, but it's slow burning, you know? Slow process. Because the problem is, and this is where color mixing starts becoming an issue, and where my limitations as an artist start happening. Can I be your friend? I've got like 80 not painted. I do it for commission, I do it for price. Oh, the Berserkers look so good. I really like the corn. Speaking of the corn models, I have a half-finished Angron, half-finished Demon Primarch, half-constructed one, actually sitting right next to me because one of my friends who's in the hobby, he wanted to start World Eaters. And originally, he was going to take a bunch of Death Guard that he got off of a sale and just convert them. And then he found out that the World Eaters were going to be a thing in 10th edition or 9th edition. So I was like, dude, just sell off all of your other Plague Marine stuff and use that to buy into corn. And we did, and unfortunately he wasn't able to get great prices for it because I am a terrible, terrible haggler. But he was able to get enough to buy Angron. And so now we have an Angron that's half constructed that I am going to help him build and paint. And that way he can just have this really cool figures for the Twitch stream. So, one moment. So this is what we got so far. This is how much of Angron that he has put together. And he's coming over probably tomorrow, actually, to go ahead and continue building him. And once he's finished, I'm not going to do it on stream, unfortunately, because he wants to be the one to paint him, which is fair. It's his money. But he's eventually going to paint him and have him all ready to go. And since it's Angron, it's going to look freaking amazing. So I'm very excited for that. If, at some point, if I'm able to make enough money via commissions and Twitch and the like, mainly commissions because I can't get paid for Twitch yet, eventually I'm going to buy my own Angron. Now, something I did find that I think was very, very cool was someone did a 3D sculpt of a Demon Primarch Angron that it's not the same one, like it's not doing the same pose or anything, but it's very much Demon Primarch Angron. And so eventually I'm going to print that out and we're going to have a ball because he has great ideas that are terrible shitposty ideas. He really likes the Garfield memes. You know, just the idea that Garfield is this horrible eldritch abomination and yada yada. This color is not coming together. I'll have to fix that later. And so, he's decided that his corn demons, all of his like disciples of corn and whatnot, they are not going to be the disciples of corn. They're going to be the disciples of cornfield. You get Angron if you paint. I'll get you an Angron mini for you if you paint a few minis. I will gladly do that. No joke. I will gladly paint you some minis if you buy me an Angron. I will paint them to the best of my god dang ability. Because I really want an Angron mini. Okay, I think I don't really like how that color looks. It's brighter, but it's too blue. I have a Discord on my Twitch channel. If you'd like to join that, we can definitely talk further. But my god, I want an Angron mini. I want to paint an Angron mini. I want to make it look just as good as my Mortarion. Eventually, I want to have all the Demon Primarchs. I'm eventually going to get myself a Magnus and paint him so that he's beautiful. I've got a Mortarion already. I want to get an Angron. And the one I really want, because they're just horrible movie villains and I love it, is when I know for a fact, and everyone knows, that they're going to be doing Emperor's Children in 10th. There's no way they don't do Emperor's Children in 10th edition. So my goal, my honest-to-God goal, is to have enough money to get the Emperor's Children models when they come out. And, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about that. It's not on purpose, I promise. Is to get myself a Fulgrim, a Demon Primarch Fulgrim, because the Noise Marines, everything about them is just so damn funny. This silence offends, Slanesh. Hentai music intensifies. You know what I mean? It's the idea that they're just so deliciously evil and they're so irredeemably evil is very funny to me. Because, you know, we always have these villains that, oh my god. I actually have a 3D printed Fulgrim that I have as part of an ancient Rylanor diorama that I keep kicking the can of down the road. And eventually I'll finish that. But today is not that day. One moment though. Let me see if I can get it out real quick. Okay, there it is. And now it's probably broken into a million bits. Nope, this is flip broke off. That's fixable. And Mr. Fulgrim, your wing came off. Man, you did not stay glued. Well, now I'm glad I did that. A fetid bloat drone, I'm assuming. Yeah, the fetid bloat drones look cool. I have two. I painted one of them, I think. I got them as part of a big sale that someone was doing because they were trying to get out of the hobby. Oh, why is everything falling apart on this lab? I will gladly paint you a fetid bloat drone. Those things are fun to paint. The entirety of the Death Guard army is fun to paint. To be completely honest, if I'm gonna just, you know, call a spade, the entire Death Guard army is so much fun to paint. If you want me to paint Death Guard, first of all, not to toot my own horn too much, but I'm really good at it. But secondly, I'm gonna have way too much fun. Okay, let's let that. Yeah, it's the fetid bloat drone. One of my favorite models. I think it's terrifying. Have you seen it with the? Oh my gosh, darn it. Have you seen the fetid bloat drone with the plague mower? With a flesh mower? Because with the flesh mower is absolutely terrifying. It's one of my favorite. Hey, Kieran. Thank you, appreciate it. I'm in the middle of like fixing a mini, so unfortunately not painting. But have a good evening, okay? Good to see you again. Okay, well, if you give me a second, my commission stuff is on my Instagram, Seed Bloom. So, which I think, this is not going to stick. I'm going to have to put some armature wire in it. Okay, so one of his wings fell off as I was taking him out of the box, but this is most of Demon Primarch Fulgrim. You don't need to have Instagram to do so. If you could just click on the link, it'll take you to the Instagram. But give me a second then, because I also have an Imager gallery that has like my commissions and whatnot. I'm going to post it. Boom. So yeah, if you go to there, that's just going to show you my gallery, and it shows you kind of my pricing and whatnot.
And that pricing is based off of doing like small models. So obviously the price will increase as the size of the model increases. Like if for example you were to commission Demon Primarch Angron, that would cost a lot of money. That would be probably a few $100s just because he's such a big model. But something like, you know, Plague Marines at the highest level would be probably $40 to $50 a model. Because at that point, I'd be pulling out all the stops. I would be doing everything I can to make every single one of them presentation level. You know what I mean? Okay, come on. I really want this wing to stay. I'm probably going to have to put some armature wire in the wing, which is perfectly fine. But right now, it's fighting me. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be fighting. I didn't do that. That's annoying. Angron. Full Koish. Yes. That's going to be a fun model to paint. Full commish. If you want it to be like to the level that I'm currently trying, if you want it, I gotta move some things around. I've made a mess and I've destroyed some of my stuff. I think give me a second. And let me. Okay, if you want Angron done to the level that I did, I'm sorry, my brain just farted out on me. If you want Angron done to the level that I did Gilliman, that's that. Am I back? I'm back. Yeah, I was moving things around, so I needed to get away from the mic for a second. But if you want Angron done to the level that I did Gilliman, given the size of Angron, that's probably going to be close to $300. Because I'm going to be spending an entire week getting Angron to look beautiful. $250 make a deal? Yeah, I could probably do that. I'd have to look at how many hours I would have to dedicate it to putting for Angron, because that depends. If you want me to assemble him too, that's obviously going to cost a little more, because I'm very particular about how I assemble the model. Well, actually, wait a minute. You just said you wanted me to paint a fetid bloat drone. Give me a second. I could show you what one of my paint jobs look like for it. Oh, I painted both of them. So these are two of the fetid bloat drones I painted, and both of them were painted before I actually got good at it. Man, most of the parts on his flesh mower have fallen off. There's one of the painted of the fetid bloat drones. Here's the other one that's considerably more bloody. But yeah, I would actually do a much better job than I did on either of these guys. This one right here, the one that's spewing mucus and death. Yeah, I'd do a much better job than I did on this one. I was painting these before I got really good at it, so the one I would paint for you, even at like mid-tier, would look a whole lot better than this. He's incredibly washed out, and now that I'm actually looking at him, I'm not really enjoying some of the effects I've done on him. They're very washed out, so I would definitely give you a better paint job than this. This one almost offends me with its smugness. Kind of happy with the flesh, though. The flesh turned out pretty good. But yeah, no, I'd do a much better job than that. Okay, I'm gonna put these right back. Okay, I'm back. I am going to have to go soon. You want both? Could do that. Okay, what am I doing with her? I was doing things and I forgot what they were. Okay, actually, let's pull back a little bit on the sleeve, because her sleeves are
a bit too stark. Pull back a little bit. I mean, like I said, your best bet at that point is to get in contact with me via email or something, because that way we would actually have time to negotiate and figure this out, and I could gladly get this done for you. I don't mind putting my email on here because it's my professional one, but it's benrepaints@gmail.com. That is my email. If you go to that and you message me about wanting a commission, I will gladly start communicating with you about that. That way you don't have to feel hurried about trying to get everything negotiated right now. This woman's belt needs to be painted. Okay, well, I'm really glad that I got online today, partially because I'm having a lot of fun talking with you, and hopefully people who are watching this are enjoying it. But the other part is that I recently tried to post an advertisement for my commission stuff on Reddit, and it got deleted because I'm dumb and I didn't read the rules closely enough. So I'm glad that we were able to touch bases and that we're going to be able to help each other. I think, yeah, this is going to be wood. This blade is going to look so cool when I'm done, because this blade is nowhere near done. It's going to be a power sword. It's going to have an energy field crackling off of it. It's going to look so cool. I love Sisters of Battle. I want to create an army that's nothing but fire. And just have a bunch of crazy-ass nuns setting demons on fire. I'm actually trying to convince my wife to cosplay a sister, because she thinks the leather armor is cool, and one of the people that she follows, Sosteen, is both a seamstress who does like Victorian and Renaissance era clothing, but she's also a big Warhammer fan and did a Sister of Battle cosplay. And I'm thinking, yes, that's my in. I can get my wife to cosplay a sister. And it's like, very cool, very excited. And the best part about it is that she's a little bit taller than me, so in like the battle heels or in anything, if she wants to do that, she's going to be the actual size of a Sister of Battle. And it's going to be awesome. I can even 3D print her a bolter and everything. Or a flamer, or whatever the heck she wants to. Probably a flamer, because her favorite phrase right now is, "Somebody gave me fire!" So I'm going to eventually enjoy that if we ever get back out on the cosplay scene. And from what I understand, she's going to help me make an Imperial Fist cosplay at some point. I found a really great tutorial for a giant Imperial Fist cosplay, and I'd like to do it with Eva foam and the like. Okay, ew, no, that's not good. Okay, this is really coming together. This is going to end up being a black. I'm about to send an email to test if it's okay or not. Yeah, that had paint on it. Give me a second. Go to Gmail. Go to Ben Repaints. Yep, there you are. Sent a response back so you know that it's legit. Okay. Not too worried about those things. My e-bill is available. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Sounds good. We can definitely do that. Again, I'm going to be a little busy for most of the rest of the evening. I have company coming over. So I won't be able to get back to you like immediately. But since you're the one since you are the client, it is going to be entirely beholden to you. I'm very particular about making sure that my communication is clear, so you will be getting plenty of updates, and you will be getting a lot of, you know, hey, I'm doing this thing, and this is a thing I came into contact with. How would you like me to approach this? So there's going to be a lot of communication. I don't feel comfortable doing a commission without, I don't want to say near constant communication, but a very steady flow of it. So hopefully you'll be okay with that. Okay. Belt. Okay, let me know when I can sub-donate or more with the channel. Thank you, I appreciate it. As soon as I'm able to do that kind of stuff, I'm definitely going to put some notifications somewhere on the channel itself that it's available. But that's going to require me to get more viewers concurrently than I currently have. I stream at a weird time, and I have this thing where most of the people who follow me and like my stuff are over in Europe, and I am very much based out of Eastern United States. So by the time I'm hopping online, most of the people who want to watch me are going to bed. Yeah, right. Like Kieran popped in a minute ago to be like, hey, going to bed, but just wanted to say hi. And while I greatly appreciate it, I wish I could, you know, stream and talk to people. I'm very lonely. I'm not actually, but I do definitely enjoy talking to people. And let's get that little skull on there tuned up. Eventually I'm gonna have to paint that gun and her face. Well, if you want to see amazing paint jobs, you should see some of the faces. I love doing faces. It's one of my favorite parts of the model, and it's really cool seeing it go from like this weird statue-looking blob into a face with a whole lot of depth and detail. So eventually, when I get there, I'm gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to readjust the camera so that I can show it off more clearly, but painting faces is one of the coolest things in the world. It's something I really want to get good at. And so hopefully I will. You know, maybe painting this brown was not the best idea. It's very close to her gauntlet. Well, no, it's going to have a different color shade to it, so it should look okay. Let's go ahead and put some more on this cloth, because unfortunately this bone color, when it gets watered down, just departicleizes. Thank you. I've always been told the devil is in the details, and I feel like you can have some amazing, amazing paint jobs without really hitting them hard, but if you don't hit the details hard, those are the things people notice. They're what really elevate it from being just like a game piece to being, you know, a statue. Actually, especially since you're relatively new with this, I gotta show you cloaks. I love doing cloth, especially cloaks, and it's because they go great when they're done right. Perfect example is this guy. This is one of my first custodians I did, and I tried to do a non-metallic metal, and it kind of reads. It could be brighter. But my favorite part about him, first of all, the hair. I'm pretty proud of the hair, but like, look at this cloak. Look at that cloak. The detail and the depth on that cloak is like, wow! I know I'm being silly, but it really does make the model pop. Even if the rest of the details aren't that, like, incredibly well done, I love doing the cloak. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, this was my first non-metallic metal. I think, to be honest, I did an okay job with the mid-tones, but like everything else, my current one that I'm working on, and non-metallic metal hard. I have a hard time doing non-metallic metal. This is where I've gotten to with my non-metallic metals, and I've got really, really strong contrast, but it doesn't really look metal anymore. So I'm going to keep working on that. And then I've got a bunch of Imperial Fist Captains that I've worked on recently that I've done a much better job with the cloaks. And against the yellow armor, it pops so well. I thoroughly enjoy doing the cloaks. But yeah, non-metallic metal is one of the hardest things to do in the hobby. Trying to simulate real metal using nothing but shades and transitions is difficile, because you got to understand how light works, and I do not understand how light works. So, hopefully eventually I'll learn, but that was the whole point. Yeah, exactly. See, he doesn't have, he's missing that mid-tone that the first Custodes had. And that first Custodes because I was just getting to learning blending, is very roughly blended together. Okay. I know, right? For a long time, I've always struggled with acknowledging when I've done things well, you know, that kind of humility thing. But no, I know when I do things well. I did a good job back. Actually, one moment. I'm having fun talking about this. Give me a second. Give me a second. What do you think of this fetid bloat drone? This isn't what I went over there for, but I just realized this is one that someone else painted. I don't want to repaint it. Have I ever done Titans? Not full Titans. I've done 2 Imperial Knights and Armigers. And this one, the one with the Plague Spewers. Like I said, I didn't paint this one. I'll touch it up. And if you want me to, I'll do that, and I'll send it to you. I'm trying to get rid of this. Like, I don't like the paint job on it very much. So I'll gladly touch this up and change whatever you want me to change on it, and then I'll send this off to you. Like, we can discuss that later. But I'm glad that you immediately saw it and went, yes, I want. Also, I magnetize my stuff, because I transport them on metal trays in plastic carriers. So this one's going to have 2 magnets on the bottom of them. But yeah, we can talk about it. Okay. These 2 are my pride and joys. I love these models. I'm here for the personal stuff. Fair enough. I love these models. These are 2 that I spent a lot of time working on because I just really like both of these models. And, yeah, I'm a huge fan of the fists. My biggest thing about them, though, is the cloaks. Because I nailed the cloaks. I did a good job with them. I like the fists. I like the fists. I like the cloaks. I'm really happy with how these guys turned out. So, they're both my captains for right now. Now, at one point, I had close to 7,000 points of Imperial Fists, and I've slowly sold and given away the stuff that I didn't want anymore, because I just wasn't using it and wasn't going to. And I'm getting to a point where I'm really narrowing down exactly what I want to be in my army. And especially what I'm going to want to have with my current painting skill level. So my goal is to eventually just have an absolutely beautifully painted Imperial Fist army that is purely mine. Okay, and I think that now covers most of that. What else do I want to do with this lady? Here I am bragging about cloaks, and I'm struggling with getting the purple shading right on her back. On her stuff. I'm not doing too bad. No, I need more blue. Doop. Come on. Yeah, that's what I want. Have I ever thought about... I try not to. I've heard it's bad for your head. Custodians, full chapters. I think that might kill me. Like different cloaks. Yeah, that might just absolutely kill me. I love doing the custodians, but that's actually something that I want to do. I have, like I said, I've got the custodians I'm trying to do in non-metallic metal, but I've also decided that I really want to do a set in true metallic metal, because true metallic metal has a completely different vibe than non-metallic metal, and it can look absolutely stunning when it's done right. And so that's what I eventually want to do with a full-on Custodes. Well, not a full-on Custodes chapter or anything, like a unit of Custodian Wardens or whatever. I want to go ahead and do a full set of them in true metallic metal. But yeah, there's a lot of different. I don't remember what the heck they're called. Different Custodes chapters. That would hurt me trying to get all of them done. I've had that set of Custodes for a few months now, and I'm only like 4 units in. I've done Valerian and Alea, the 2 special edition units, and I think I've done like, I know, right? No, Custodes are awesome. Don't get me. Oh, speaking of, Custodes are awesome. Don't get me wrong. It's just that painting them is an experience. Henry Cavill does Custodians, you say? This was before I really knew how to do cloaks. But yeah, Henry Cavill does Custodians. Henry Cavill is a custodian. So yeah, I tried painting them all gold back when I first did a bunch of proxies, and I was not particularly impressed with how they looked. So at some point, I'm going to go back and do it right, is my plan. And actually, let's see. I know, and I'm very excited about it, because between Henry Cavill and Games Workshop, they're going to do a very faithful adaptation of Warhammer for Amazon, and that excites me. I think one of my favorite things about it is there's a female pro wrestler named Shayna Baszler, who is an obnoxiously big Warhammer fan. I did not realize how much she liked Warhammer until I found out that she was like coming out in ring attire that was inspired by the different chapters of the different Space Marine legions. And on her Instagram, every time she has a new one, she poses in it for like the promo shoot and has a quote either about the Legion or from the Primarch next to it. Yeah, I know. It's got like one of those throttling things, and I don't know if that's on my end or not. If it is, I'll fix it eventually. But yeah, she really wants to play Lotara Saren. If she can get Henry to recruit her. So that would be something that would be just super heckin' neato to see. And I think, I can't remember who it was, but Henry Cavill is recruiting another well-respected actress to be in his show. And to be honest, as much as I want to see Space Marine legions running around killing each other and doing cool Space Marine Legion stuff, I think to get to like plant the seed of, you know, Warhammer cool, make it mainstream, he needs to do some like Inquisitor type show where he can show the gritty underbelly of the Imperium. Because starting straight out with Space Marines is just a little too alien, you know? If he can pull it off, cool. I'd love to see him try, but I just feel like starting at like an Eisenhorn level would benefit him a whole lot more. Yeah, that looks pretty darn good. Okay, I don't like how that pale sand ended up looking on the beads, so these are going to be getting much darker color. What would you like? I'm sorry, I don't understand. What would you like his AM? His AM? I'm misunderstanding, I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and get some purple. Eisenhorn as. I know he wants to play God Emperor. He thinks playing a Mirror Inquisitor is nowhere near what he deserves. I personally would love to see Space Marines kill each other, but I know that that's not very viable. Honestly, I don't know where I'd want to see him. Oh wait, no, I do know where I'd want to see him. He'd need to be like a Custodes. We can't have Henry Cavill and not have him as a Custodes. That's my feeling. But, you know, he'll do what he'll do. I don't know what chapter master he could be. I know that the Imperial Fist chapter masters seem to die every new edition, so that wouldn't be too great. Maybe you have a custom chapter that he would make up for the show. Yeah, he does main Custodes, so he should be playing Custodes. Or he should be playing a Custody. But given that it's Henry freaking Cavill, I trust him implicitly. After seeing how much love and care he tried to put into The Witcher, I trust that man pretty implicitly. I don't feel like he would be able to ruin the series, and so wherever he decides he's best served in the show, he can go ahead and do whatever he wants. Okay. I think.
Let's see.
Let's see. Am I hitting this good enough? Yeah, get that nice bit of contrast in there. He's a servo to a servitor to man the toilets. That would be funny if after all of the pomp and circumstance of, oh my god, Henry Cavill is doing blah, he just suddenly appears as some rando servitor. I would lose my shit. That would be hilarious. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and hit that with a contrast. Yeah, really bring that out. Not a contrast, a shade. Man. Shades really do hide deficiencies in painting. They really do make your paint look good. Okay. I like where that's going. I like where this is headed. I think I'm gonna have to get going soon. It's almost 7 o'clock. My buddy should be here soon. But right now, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna use some of this Drakenhof Nightshade to tinge all of this a blue, and that way, when I start actually painting it to have like a power core, it'll have all this great blue underneath it. Hopefully. Hopefully, you'll do what you're supposed to do. But yeah, she's turning out pretty darn good. And let me see, that was what? That was about an hour and a half worth of, or an hour 45 worth of my time. I mean, obviously not the fastest paint job in the world, but that's not what I was going for. Especially with all of the distractions that I have created for myself. Want sub and follow, make a donation or something that I could support, and I want commissions for some work. Fair enough. I'll look at getting a Ko-fi started. That way, if people want to donate to the Ko-fi, they can. And eventually, if I ever get Twitch integration or whatever, cool. But I'll go ahead and get a Ko-fi started. I appreciate your appreciation. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. But yeah, I'm actually, I think, let's do one last look. I gotta do some more stuff back there. But yeah, she looks pretty darn good. Unfortunately, the light is very, very stark, and it's definitely like making her wash out. But yeah, she looks pretty darn good. Gonna take a picture of her and post her on my Discord. Yep, okay. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing the interest and the appreciation. I'm excited. I love doing commissions. I'm still relatively recent into that field, but the ones I've done, I've had a blast doing. Yeah, exactly. So that's actually what most of this is for. I'll paint my own stuff on here when I can, but I primarily paint other people's things on here because it ends up making me do things that I wouldn't otherwise do. Yep. Have a good evening. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you have a good rest of your evening, and have a good one. Bye-bye, guys.